Unsyndicated presents Off the Air with Sean Baligian.
Listen, I'm not joking. We had this conversation. Is there anything better than so listen? I thought that's how Mike and I usually have conversations.
Listen to me,
so listen. There's no hello. There's hey. There's no how you doing. Sometimes we ask how other things are, but we can't get into that conversation right now. We literally had this conversation a week ago, and Mike, I giving you full credit because you're the guy that said it a week ago. You said, look at this week. This could be a bad span. And it's exactly what happened. And I think the frustrating thing about it is it was an opportunity against Cleveland, and it was an opportunity against you saw that team. That is not a very good Houston Astro team in any way, shape, or form. And for the Tigers to lose the way they did, Mike, not surprising. I hate to say it, not surprising.
Well, did you celebrate today?
I did not celebrate today. There was no celebration today. There was no
You didn't do any. You didn't do anything?
I didn't. I'm sorry. No.
Because it was Akil Badu Day.
It was Akil Badu Day.
It's not Mother's Day. It's the return of Akil. I mean,
you know how I love him.
I mean, so it's not just that they're losing now. They're finding new, innovative ways to lose with the bullpen completely falling apart, which was obviously a huge strength for them early on. So not only can you now not hit, which you never could hit, but now you've got the guys that you were relying on that are completely collapsing. And so what is it now? Is it 8 of 10 have they lost or something like that? I don't know exactly, but it's been a bad stretch. Yeah, I think it is. What did they lose? They lost 2 to Houston, 2 to Cleveland, got swept by the Yankees, right? So that's 7-9. So not just that, but you're blowing late leads. So you've had opportunities to take one-run games, and you're completely blowing it. Foley's falling apart. Chafin's a joke. He's a lefty specialist. I don't know why Hinch insists on bringing him in like save opportunity. That's not his role. Why are you doing that? And that's where I struggle with people. Like, explain to me without the utilization of a garbage can why AJ Hinch is a good manager. Tell me, because I don't get it. I don't understand where are the results that we're supposed to be seeing to where you can tell me beyond a shadow of a doubt this guy is a very good manager. Where? Because he relies on numbers or something? I don't get it.
No. The only thing that I will say, I'll take a crack at this, and I hope you understand what I'm saying when I say this. For this team to be 20-20 with this lineup, maybe I have to give him a little bit of credit. Now, I think you can see my tongue completely in my cheek when I say that. Right. No, all jokes aside, this lineup is bad. There's no other way to say that. Like, on any given night, you are talking about 3, Mike, 4. I mean, almost automatic outs on any given night. And the one factor that you and I were talking about, and you touched on it just a second ago, was, okay, the pen is playing well, but eventually water's going to find its level. And I think water has found its level for many individuals and the pen as a whole.
Well, I think it's sad, too, because you can look at the rotation and say, okay, when Skubal pitches, they have a very, very good chance of winning.
Yep.
After that, it's a coin flip at best with 2 and 3, and then 4 and 5, whatever. I mean, now Maeda's on the IL for something. I don't know. But you aren't going to have an opportunity many times to win 3 games in a row with this rotation and this offense, because you're not going to score enough runs, even when these guys do go out and give you quality start type stuff, 6 innings, 3 earned. They're not scoring enough to win those games. And not only that, you're going into some of these games, you're going down 5-0, 8-0. And we saw the offensive explosion yesterday, but you can't carry those runs over. Sorry, you scored a ton of runs yesterday in a blowout. It doesn't matter when you lose 2 out of 3 anyway. And that's the part that I think is very frustrating with this team. When they do score a lot of runs, it's completely inconsistent. And then they go right back to doing nothing for 5-6 straight innings.
A couple comments as my buddy Mike Botch joins us here talking Tigers. Skydog said, any thoughts on why the Tigers suck without mentioning their $22 million man? Oh, yeah, we can mention the entire lineup. Off the air said 9-11 in the last 20. You mentioned Tarek Skubal, and I think you and I talked about this the first time that we got together to talk about the Tigers in March. I think it's a terrible thing for Skubal, okay? And I'm being serious when I say this. He finished the season so strongly, and it was like nobody in Detroit was paying attention because they were wrapped up in what Michigan was doing and certainly wrapped up in what the Lions were doing. But he was downright dominant down the stretch last year, and not enough people noticed it. Fast forward to this year, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. I have no problem saying that. And if you think I'm a homer, go look up the numbers for yourself. I mean, he really is. Mike, please help me understand. You are an educated man. Help me understand why AJ Hinch handles him the way that he handles him. I get it. There have been some surgeries. He's 27 years old, man. At some point in time, I go a little bit.
Yeah. And I know he had, a minor injury scare, what was that, 2 years ago or whatever, but I completely agree with you. It's a different era of Major League Baseball where at some point the injury at this level with guys throwing 99, it's going to happen. It really is a question of when. So you might as well just let it rip because it's coming. And we're not in a position to win the World Series right now anyway. Let the guy pitch. All right, let's see what he can do. Maybe he can be like a Zach Wheeler type guy where you can count on him going out there pretty much every 5 days throwing 100 pitches, maybe more. But you're right. There is a little bit of babying going on. And then you start to tax that bullpen more and more and more. And then they start to fall apart. And then the chain just kind of breaks down. And it all starts there. What's the right time to take out a guy like Skubal when the guy's built like a horse, first of all. Okay. He's a monster. Let him go. Just see what he can do. Let's continue to kind of push that pitch count higher and higher, because as I mentioned, when you have the human body throwing several pitches per game at 99, or I think you saw Skeens yesterday. What did he throw? 17 pitches over 100 miles an hour or something like that in his major league debut. At some point, you just have to kind of take and assume that Tommy John is happening. The body was not meant to do this stuff. And eventually you're going to have to pay the piper, but it's just a matter of when. Let him go, because he's going to need Tommy John at some point anyway. It's going to happen, but it's a matter of when.
Yeah, no doubt about it. A couple comments, and we will continue the conversation. Justin said it's hard to watch when the good pitching is there and they can't buy a hit. Rich said Sean is a homer. I can be. I openly admit it. I'd like to be able to call myself out. I'd like to be able to call myself out. I mean, I know I've called myself out about this franchise for a while.
Yeah. The Tigers suck. You're a homer. What?
I'm not done with Al Avila yet, by the way. Not by a long shot, okay? Skydog said Skubal's contract up in October. Rich said, got to keep him fresh for that deep, deep playoff run. Yeah.
Right.
Dude, you're 27, man. Okay, right. This isn't a 23-year-old kid anymore. This isn't a 24-year-old kid. Let him go.
I would love to go look and see what his average pitch count has been this season. Because I mean, he's gone out there and thrown some outright gems, but I can almost guarantee you they're yanking him at 86, 88. I'd have to go look at opening day, but I think they pulled him under 90 on opening day as well. But yeah, I mean, it all boils down to when does managing become over managing? And I think we're seeing, sadly, a lot of that because, I've got all these elite bullpen pieces and I can go to Chafin and I can go to Joey frickin' Wentz now. Like, what are we doing? We're trying to sell that Joey Wentz is a weapon out of the bullpen from the left side. Knock it off. Just can we stop it? You got Jason Foley throwing 100-mile-an-hour sinkers, and then right next to him, oh, watch out. Here comes Joey Wentz. Stop.
Here he comes. Yeah, it is amazing. Mike, this is one thing I wanted to hit. I know you got a lot of stuff going on in your mind, and we'll go over a
That's an
lot of things.
understatement.
By the way, did you see what Genghis said? Bring in Bauer. Okay.
No, we
I mean, I
talked
don't know
about
why
that.
he'd want to come here, but okay, I'd bring him
Yeah.
in a second. I wouldn't even
Well, we
think
talked
twice
about
about it.
that preseason. What did we say? We said, why are you paying Kenta Maeda for 2 years when we know he stinks? When Trevor Bauer is willing to come in at the league minimum,
Yep.
are you going to get worse results than you've gotten from Maeda? No. So why not? It's free. Whatever. We can talk about that for 2 hours.
For people out there that maybe didn't listen to me on the radio back then, this is going back 4 or 5 years ago, didn't see me talk about this on television, did not see my pal Mike and I talk about this. You can find it on YouTube. The Al Avila crowd and the Al Avila argument, I'm not going to rehash it all, okay? I'm not. But this is very important that I need to bring this up, and I think you know where I'm going with this. The argument that I made with people, it wasn't even an argument. It was a common sense plea. Is what has Al Avila done well? His trades were garbage. The free agent pickups weren't better. And if you bring up Akil Badu, I might break this laptop and we're done for the night. Okay.
Rule 5. Rule 5.
Oh, right. Okay. What did they always tell us, Mike? The Avila crowd. And whether y'all want to admit it or not, the crowd was a hell of a lot bigger than any of you want to admit.
Up until about what? May of 2 years ago, too.
Right. They told us to believe in the invisible over and over and over. And what I mean by that is believe in that which we can't see. Well, there's this cute little prospect, and there's that little cute prospect, and there's this little cute prospect. Mike, I think we're coming close to the time. I really do. And I know you know this, but I'm going to bring this up for the people because people still occasionally will go, well, you have to remember he brought this guy here, and you have to. Okay, you ready? Here are his draft choices. Matt Manning, Alex Faedo, Casey Mize, number 1 overall, Riley Green, number 5 overall, Spencer Torkelson, number 1 overall.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike, if I had a dime for the amount of times that I said, I am not going to pat Matt Millen, I mean Al Avila on the back for getting the number 1 pick. I'm just not going to do that. He didn't even get those right, Mike.
Right.
He didn't even get those right.
Yeah. And that's why we're in the position we're in, is because you've got homegrown. Riley Green's been fantastic. You can't debate that. He's been a very, very good hitter and their best hitter overall. Outside of that, we go back to the offense. And you and I talked about this last week. This franchise has not finished above 18th in Major League Baseball in runs scored per game since 2016. 18th. They have not even come close to finishing in the top half of baseball. They've finished 30th once. They've finished 20th a couple times. This is not a new thing, the Tigers not scoring runs. They haven't scored runs in almost a decade, and they still can't address the issue. And what do? They try to sell you on the homegrown stuff, right? Let's sign Colt Keith, sight unseen, to what, a 6-year OPS. Care to take a guess?
No. Mm-mm.
It's
I don't.
444. His OPS is 444. He has 3 doubles, 0 triples, 0 home runs. 444. Is he still here? Like, can you send a guy down? Not DFA, obviously. Can you option a guy down that you just extended for 6 years as your everyday second baseman? Can you do that? Can you send down Spencer Torkelson, who just hit his first home run today in the most meaningless situation possible? So of course that's what he's going to hit.
In doubles, Mike.
Awesome.
People say, I know people say things like that. It's like, this is why we keep numbers like OPS. Yeah. I mean, this reminds me of the pitching arguments that we had about 10 years ago. Well, did you see his last outing? Well, this is why we keep averages. And you know, it's great that he had a good outing here. He had a good outing there, but I mean, overall, Mike, those numbers are disgusting.
But even torque, OPS 610.
610.
You can
Yep.
tell me all about doubles all you want. He's got 13 doubles out of 32 hits and 1 home run today. Well, on base he doesn't walk either, by the way.
Yep.
So his on base is under 300. 610 OPS. This is the guy. This is your everyday, can't miss number 1 overall first baseman. You're not going to win games like this. You can't score runs with these bums going out here with OPSs under 700. Your best 2 hitters by far are Riley Green and career veteran corner outfielder Mark Canha, which was a good signing. I'm not gonna argue that. I like him, and I thought that was a good move. It's a guy that gets on base. He's got a good veteran presence. He knows how to work counts. I like him. Mark Canha is a good player to have on a very good team that you can kind of move around a little bit, move him to right, move him to left, maybe DH him from time to time. He should never be your second best hitter in the lineup, ever.
Nope.
And right now, he's second on the team in home runs. I think he's got 6. He has 5 or 6. I think Green's got 6. Wensiel Perez is like tied for third with 3 home runs.
It's incredible.
They just don't hit home runs. They don't come up big in clutch situations, as always. That's been going on for over a decade. But there's no power threat in that lineup. Shockingly, Green, I mean, we all know he's not going to keep this torrid pace up with the home run stuff, because that's usually not what he is. Is he going to be a 30 home run guy? I mean, that'd be awesome, but he never has been. He didn't even show that in the minors.
No.
But I don't know where the run production is going to come from. And does it come to a point where it's like, okay, you've got Manning, moving up and down between Toledo and here. Do you have to finally start trading some of these guys to get some bats in the system? Because I got bad news for you. There's nothing down in the minors right now either.
You nailed it.
And you can sell me on Justin Henry Malloy and is it Jace Young and these other guys? Sure, okay, maybe they do come up and they contribute. These aren't guys that are going to come up and be studs. I mean, these are more of the 4A guys that are going to come in. Maybe you can be. Wensiel Perez has been good, and I like him. But long term, is he a staple of this lineup? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, that's what has frustrated me, Mike, about like the last forever, really since 2017, is it's almost like, okay, when one of these names fail, Parker Meadows, there's a new name, a new Parker Meadows to just automatically be thrown out there. You and I joked about the catcher of the future 100 times, because whether people want to admit it or not, both people who follow this team, one in particular, and this team itself, over and over talked about the catcher of the future. And this guy was going to be the catcher of the future. And this guy was going to, and it's almost like when that one name fails, it's wiped off the memory. It never happened. No. And the next one slides in. Here's the problem. Even people that have been selling some of these goods for the last few years are sitting back saying, I don't know what to tell you. There isn't a lot waiting in the wings. And it's not just that some of these teams are struggling, Mike. It's like now we're getting to the point where even the biggest diehard out there can't argue with what you just said.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, man. I mean, you look up some of the Jake Rogers OPS 602. And this is the guy that we were sold on was going to be a piece from the Verlander trade, because literally right now, that's all you have left.
That's all you have.
That's all you have left. And Verlander is still going out there and kicking your ass in your own building at what, 40? And the catcher, that the only piece that you have back has a 602 OPS, but he's great defensively. Oh, watch out. He'll keep that 9th run off the board for you after Houston scores 8.
He's zany too. That's a good thing. You see that little mustache and everything.
They're so silly.
Bill said, "Please spend some money, Mr. I. We need proven veteran presence, bats in the worst possible way." Tim said 3.65 runs per game average since 2015, excluding 2020. Change the name to the Whooshes until they find players to hit, steal, and score runs. Rich said Skubal averages 90 pitches an outing, 724 pitches thrown. More.
Okay.
More. Like seriously, get the more meme. Hold on. Fredo, I was passed over. Javier is PE #1 for having numbers like that.
Sure.
Let me
And we
see.
assume that. That's okay. We can talk about that, but that's a constant. That's a given. We don't even need to discuss the pile of dog shit that Javi Baez is and will continue to provide for us for the next 3 seasons. We know that. That's a sunk cost. It's over. The problem is we're talking about the young guys that aren't doing anything to supplement his disaster of a career. Yes, Javi Baez sucks. We all know this, but Cole Keith is worse. He's worse than Javi Baez. Spencer Torkelson, arguably, is worse than Javi Baez right now. It's insane.
That's what hurts the most. I mean, to me, because these are the pieces that were supposed to take us to across that bridge, so to speak.
Yes.
That that these are here are a couple of the cobblestones, that new bridge that were built, that beautiful new bridge. That was supposed to be the issue. Jim said, is it just me or is every hitter swinging at the first pitch consistently? Is this AJ's philosophy? It's very frustrating to watch, except if I'm not mistaken for Riley Green. Doesn't Riley Green always take the first
always
pitch?
Takes it. Always.
Yeah, it's always Riley
and
Green.
He and Wenceel Perez are two of the guys in that lineup, and Canna, that will take a freaking walk. Yeah. Nobody else walks. It's been this way now for a long time.
Aaron has a good point. Mike, you and I have talked about this for years. And I go back to 2015 when I was doing a radio show and I got killed by not only listeners, but a lot of my coworkers for saying it's over. Like that wonderful era from 2006, it ended the second we got swept by the Orioles, whether people wanted to admit it or not. And Mike, if you remember in 2016, golly gee, we were right in it right to the last weekend. And then, the brakes broke our hearts. This has been a bad franchise for a long time. And I want to read what Aaron said. Aaron said, Scott Harris is sadly going to be here for a while. This organization is broke. Why aren't more fans outraged at this offense? And Aaron, I'm going to add some words to that sentence. Why aren't more fans outraged at this franchise? I don't get it. I do not get it. Mike, you and I have talked about it forever. I don't get it.
I think it's complete apathy now. The Tigers are 24th in Major League Baseball in attendance. And I know it's been cold and, it's still May 12th or whatever. You're not going to see massive crowds out there until the weather gets nice. Typical bullshit, right? They're 24th in attendance. There's no juice here. Who do you want to go see? Skubal? Okay, I'll go every 5th day to see Skubal pitch. He's very good. Do I want to go see Riley Green? All right, he's pretty good. Outside of that, I don't want to watch these guys. I don't want to watch Javi Baez flail away at a pitch 2 feet outside. I don't want to watch Torkelson pop the freaking ball up. There's nothing here. There's nothing exciting. There's nothing that we can hang our hat on and say, hey, look, we got things growing. We got things building. They're coming down the road. Not really. And you and I have talked about this a million times. This blueprint can work if you have the right people in charge. I'm still willing to give Scott Harris a pass. I don't think any of this is necessarily his doing. I hate the Maeda signing. That I will not forgive him for. But the Mark Canha signing I like. Flaherty has worked out pretty well so far. I still think it starts at the top, and I still think Chris is not willing to spend money. And until we get into that top 15 of payroll, this is not a serious organization. It's just not.
I was hoping that the 2 years, I wish we could flip it right now. The 2 years went to Flaherty and the 1 year went to Kenta. I mean, that in a perfect world, that would have been the situation. Andrew Williams said, people don't care. It's bad for a decade. There is a level of apathy, Mike, that you spoke of that I haven't seen with this franchise, because before people would at least argue. Do you remember? I mean, I remember you and I have been involved in some classic arguments. This is real. People, you're dumb. You don't understand baseball. Brad Ausmus is great. We had to bring him.
Right.
That's a real argument. And I always
Yeah.
love, sometimes I'll hear people say, oh, Baligian is a guy that he argues with ghosts. He's arguing with nobody's that's there. And I'm like, you don't live my life. And Mike, you've had a front row seat for a lot of these arguments. We had like
Yeah.
diehard arguments with people that were adamantly for Brad Osmus, the Al Avila. Again, I know nobody wants to admit that they loved Al Avila now. I get it. Guys, it wasn't that long ago that people were still doing "you're dumb, look what he took over," Dave Dombrowski bad, Al Avila good type of situations. That was real. We dealt with it, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How are the Phillies doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I'm going to read some more comments. I have I have to tell you about some of our friends though. And friends are always good. You know that.
I love friends.
Friends are always good. Let me tell you about Wealth Advantage Group. If you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than those two handsome fellas right there, the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville, owned by two brothers with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. That's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help navigate the complexities of financial planning. Whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, or already in retirement, they can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 states. The investment world, it is a complex one. If you're ready to start taking your finances just a little bit more seriously, it's time to work with the experts. My friends, give them a call. They will not let you down, as they have not let me down. The Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574, or visit their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Mike, you bring up such a great point. My friend Mike Botch, Sean Baligian here. Glad you can join us. We're going to go watch some hockey in a few minutes, but we wanted to maybe get some rants and raves in. I miss going down to Comerica Park. I'm the type of guy, I'll go down on a Tuesday night. You and I usually go down once or twice a year, suck down a few beers and yell Pelfrey sucks, or, whoever sucks, whatever the case may be.
Never done that.
There's very little reason to go right now, unless you're that guy that just says, I'm going to chill out. I'm going to have a couple dogs. Why would you want to stay like 9 innings? Like, I'm not being funny. Why would you, man, this team, this is an exciting brand of baseball. At least they're working hard. Tell me, what's the sell? What's the sell with this baseball team? I think you hit the nail right on top of the head.
Yeah. What do they do well? Are they good? Are they good at base? Are they fast? Do they have speed? Do they hit for power? Do they get on base? Do they score a ton of runs? Do they have, do they have likable personalities? Do they? No, none of the above. And you're going with this model of, we're going to go with the youth and we're going to develop from within. Here's the problem with that. And I support that method as long as you got the right people in place. The problem with that is, you turn around and 2 years later, you're the Chicago freaking White Sox.
Yep.
And you're the worst roster in baseball, and you've got nothing. You've got nothing going for you. The young pieces you thought you had are either garbage or injured constantly, and you're left with nothing because you went all in on the prospects. You got rid of your veterans. You don't want to spend money to sign new veterans, and now you're stuck. And that's what I'm really afraid of. We're sitting here. This rebuild's been going on a long time. Think about it. The Justin Verlander trade was 2017.
It's incredible.
That's a long time ago, man. That's almost 7 freaking years ago. And we're still sitting here talking about Jake Rogers and his 602 OPS as if he's going to be anything. The guy's like 30 already. Stop. And the problem is, you got nothing left to flip. If you fall back in this division race, what would people want from this roster? That's a asset. Are you going to get anything back for Jack Flaherty the rest of his contract for 3 months? No. Okay, I'll give you a cute double-A, Hispanic second baseman again. Here's just some random guy that I picked from a list. You can have him. And Scott Harris is going to have to basically take it. I just don't understand. The long-term plan here does not look great. It really doesn't. And it's scary to see because you know who's suddenly good? The Kansas City Royals. We talked about this preseason. They have a superstar player. They didn't miss on their early pick. Bobby Witt Jr. is a superstar. He's a stud. People pay money just to go watch him. We don't have that guy. We just don't. And that sucks because after all the bullshit that we've dealt with over the last almost decade, well, I should say, 2014, over a full decade, we got nothing to show for it. Usually you can, okay, we're in the dregs. We're at the bottom of the league. We're going to build up our farm system. We'll have some stuff to watch. Look at Baltimore. Baltimore is basically all homegrown, and they're very good. And they're not even all up yet. They've got more coming in reserve from the minors to help them. And we've got nothing.
That is the thing that frustrates the sin out of me is I have watched in the same time that the Tigers have been, I'm going to use the Pistons term, that hamster on a wheel. Look at his little legs. He's running so fast. He isn't going anywhere. He's on a damn wheel inside a cage. He's not going anywhere. I have watched way too many teams, Mike, go like this.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, think about the Chicago Cubs, okay? I mean, there's a perfect example. The Cubs went like this, and went like that again.
Right.
The Royals went like this, went like that, and are going like this again. That is the frustrating thing to me is watching this. And I don't think, to your point, I don't think people realize as bad as it's been the past few years, listen, it's at one of its lowest points right now because this time there isn't anything they can sell us in reserve.
Right.
There really isn't. There's nothing in reserve. Oh, wait till you see Willie with an eye. Wait till you see Fiedo's arm. It's magic. You know, there isn't that stuff waiting in the wings. And this could be a really, really bad era.
If they don't start spending serious money and let Scott Harris cook, let him spend a few bucks on serious contracts. I'm not talking about a 2-year deal for Maeda, a 1-year, rent a deal for Flaherty. I'm talking 4 or 5 years. Let him spend the money that you just let Alavila spend on Eduardo, on Javi Baez. That's a sunk cost. Okay, Chris, you already spent the money. It's gone. You can't get it back. It's over. So you got to, at some point, cover up that loss and just say, screw it. I effed up. I gambled away my winnings. I'm down at the casino, but I'm not leaving the freaking casino. I'm going back in. At some point, you're going to have to do that because you're stuck with this guy for another 3 years. You can't just sit on your hands and say, well, we're not going to spend until Javi's gone. No, that's not a feasible, plan. You can't do that because all of a sudden that attendance drops from 24th to 30th real quick.
Gary Schultz says Mike plays hockey too. He has his own gear.
I have my own stuff. I do. I have my own gear. That's true.
You never know when a hockey game is going to break out. That's all I'm going to say. You never, ever know. Look who jumped in. One of those long-suffering fans. So glad so much money is going to 500 different food vendors and back to the 80s nights at Comerica Park, though. That's a guy by the name of Jack Baligian. You might be familiar with his work. I've said this 100 times. I feel sorry for kids like Jack and, quite frankly, people like you, Mike, okay? I know. I had 1968 crammed down my throat. I knew everything about a damn team that won before I was even born. I mean, another 80s flashback, another 80s weekend. Hey, these guys are legends. Thank you. You won a title. But it's almost a slap in the face to many generations now that have no idea who these guys are. They've heard the stories from their dad. Jack, honestly, he can get I don't pontificate about that great 84 team anymore. He doesn't want to hear it. But unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with right now down at Comerica Park.
Yep. And we get sold the legends that didn't win a damn thing.
Yep.
The 06 through 13 run. That's what we get sold. Oh, look who's back in town. Oh, awesome. Cool. I get to hear from Craig Monroe. I get to hear from, these guys. They didn't win anything.
2013 is just I'm sorry. That's the one. That one hurts so badly. Honest to God, I'm not even. And I remember your line back then is, "We're never getting one."
Nope.
Do you remember you used to say that all the time? You always used to say, "We're never getting one."
I like to think that because this fan base and this city didn't deride Jose Iglesias for that crushing error enough, we're stuck with the ghost of Javi Baez now. It's the same guy. We're stuck with that.
Don't get me started. You and I have had this conversation. The people that thought that series was over on Poppy's home run, screw you. Like, screw that.
Yeah.
That series could have been handled so many different ways
Mhm.
after that.
Yep.
It drives me out of my mind. But
Yep.
that's a different story. Chad said Pizza Boy is a numbers guy who doesn't really want to own a team.
Yeah.
Jack Legion said, I'd like some remotely competitive baseball. I'm going to out to see the Angels take on our Tigers at the end of June, as a matter of fact, Mike Bochenek.
Nice.
I'll probably go to a game on the road before I even go to a game at Comerica Park.
Well, I've got you beat.
When I go in the next few weeks, there's just no reason for me to go. You know,
I'm going tomorrow. I'm going tomorrow night to watch the Fish. I'm going to the Tigers Marlins. Yeah, that's a hot ticket, baby. I could probably flip that for about $500 if I really want.
Marlins just made another great trade, man. They're loading up on those prospects. Don't you worry about it. Bill said back to the Bobby Higginson and Tony Clark era. Yeah. I mean, that's the worst part. Like, yes, because
maybe.
Again, I mean, you can reverse this, and if you remember, Mike, it was reversed the same way that you just suggested. They brought in Dave Dombrowski. Dave Dombrowski was allowed to spend a little. They did the unthinkable thing by throwing a bunch of money at a guy by the name of Pudge Rodriguez and Carlos Guillen. I think some people forgot about that because they didn't have those other pieces just yet. And then the Verlander
then they
came
got
in.
him.
Bonderman came, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Legacy, because I'm going to let this guy go watch the Oilers in just a minute, okay?
My man.
Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to help get their home and auto insurance in order? Our friends at Legacy Partners are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, whether it be personal, business, large, and small. Listen, do what some of our viewers have already done and so many other people in the area have done. Call these guys. I'm telling you, Joe or Alex, I'm telling you, they are going to take care of you. You mentioned something about the Boston area, and Dave will make sure that he saves you money. They're going to make that sure of that anyway. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get you the right coverage put in place to properly protect you, and help save you that money. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you are paying too much and you could be underinsured. What are you waiting for? Just get your quote. Give Legacy Partners a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, business insurance needs. Give them a call, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Do yourself a favor. Do me a favor. Tell them that we sent you, but most importantly, you'll be doing yourself a favor when you give our friends at Legacy Partners a call. Skydog says, I haven't seen the Tigers at the ballpark since 1988. Are you serious? Wow.
Whoa.
That's incredible.
Better man than I.
Justin Thompson, Brian Moeller, Raul Casanova. Do you remember how good Justin Thompson was, though?
Yep.
Do you remember? Just, I know it was fleeting and there were some arm issues, and I think he was more interested in going fishing, quite frankly, than anything else. But man, I thought they had a real one in JT. I really did.
Isn't that funny how we keep thinking the next guy and then the next guy, and then let's go get Nate Cornejo. Let's bring Nate back. I mean, we can do this all day. You and I could sit out by the fire, grab a beer or two, and probably rip off about 100 of these names in less than an hour, just volleying back and forth. I throw one out there, you throw one out there. You know, that's the way it could work.
The coach said Edmonton up 1-0.
Yeah, let's go.
Edmonton jumped up early. No doubt about that. Listen, I have
Yes.
one more thing to do before we get out of here, and that is talk about our friend Lindsey Broadwell. I know you want to go watch the game, Mike. So
I do.
Come on, I'm being respectful to you.
Chatting my ear off.
When it is time to buy or sell or both, you need to contact the right agent. There she is, Lindsey Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsey grew up on the mean streets of Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of business. When it's time to move, our friend Lindsey and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsey at BroadwellHomes.com. She will help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Mike, this weekend you mentioned Miami coming to town, and then they are in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. Two teams they should take care of business of based on what? I love when people do that. Well, Miami's struggling and Arizona's struggling. We should take care based on what?
Should have beaten Houston. They're no good.
Right? That's exactly it.
2-3.
All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, King?
No, I mean, you are a beauty. You know that? You really are. You're looking at a 500 baseball team. It's a where are we getting the sound effects? Can I get a soundboard? I need a soundboard now. I got a microphone. I need a sound. Don't you dare. Need some Jerky Boys drops. Just start.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That's an idea. That's a money-making idea.
Yeah, Jackson, bring that DK, baby. Donnie Kelly, baby.
He batted third.
Back. Everything's okay.
Don Kelly batted third often. Just remember
that's what we do, though. Like,
he
seriously, we bring out these circus characters, and hey, this guy being a balloon animal, and everybody goes nuts.
Don Kelly in a circus uniform, just that really strikes me. He's a lion tamer now. He's back. Just
he's got those big floppy shoes.
They do. They come out of clown cars. These guys, all the names.
I bet you got a pair of those floppy ones too, don't you, Whitley?
Colt Keith just stumbling out of a clown car. What is this? What are we doing? What is this?
That's exactly what was going to happen. All right, listen, we're out of here. Take care, buddy. We will see you whenever you want to do it. You know, I love chatting with you.
Watch out.
One of All right, I'll see you guys. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye, later.
Off the Air with Sean Baligian, featuring Sean Baligian and Blake Matrazak. Produced by Todd Losey and Blake Matrazak. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Play It Loud by Jam Studio. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Off the Air with Sean Baligian on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.